Hi everyone. In this exercise, I'm going to show you how to 3D model a wall and interior partition in Rhino to prep for FrameCAD detailer so we can do our design work here in Rhino. So let's get started. I'm going to open up Rhino. I'm going to start a brand new file. And between all of these templates, these are the templates that come with Rhino, I have either large or small objects to choose from. If whatever your 3D modeling is bigger than a pickup truck, then you would use large objects. So our wall is about the same size or bigger than a pickup truck. And then I got to figure out what units I want to use. So I have metric and imperial units to choose from this half of this menu. And us being here in the States, I'm going to use imperial units, which leaves me with 4 different options: feet, feet and inches, feet, inches, feet and inches, and inches. So this first unit that's displayed in this template is going to be the primary modeling unit. Because I'm working with architecture and studs that have a foot and inch increment, I'm going to choose inches. So that leaves us with 2 options: inches, feet and inches, or inches. I'm going to choose large objects, inches, feet, and inches, because my primary unit will be inches, but my display units will be feet and inches. So when I see something that's 6 foot 8 inches tall, it'll actually display as 6 foot 8 inches. But I can enter 80 inches if I wanted to, or I have the option of entering 6 foot 8 inches. So I'm going to choose this one here. The first thing I'm going to do is here in the front viewport, I'm going to go ahead and double click this viewport to maximize it. I'm going to look at my sketch, and this sketch has got the numbers and the values of all the different parameters of this project. So I'm going to create some lines. So here I am in front view. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, and I'm going to use the polyline command. Actually, let's use under the curve, let's do line, we'll do line segments. So for this line segments, I'm going to start at 0. Okay, and then I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so 0 is my origin. I have ortho on. I also have O-snap on. These are the various O-snaps that I have turned on at the moment. And I'm going to navigate my cursor to the right, and then I'm going to type in 234.25, 234.25. Now, since I've already dictated that inches is my primary unit, I can just go ahead and hit enter, and that will be 234.25 inches. As you can see down below, it says 19 foot 6 1/4 right here. So things are being displayed in feet and inches. Okay. So now that I've made a line that's 234.25 inches, the next thing that Rhino is asking me of is, well, which way does this go? And once we're going in the right direction, please click. So if I want it to go this way, 234 inches this way or this way, I want it to go this way. So I'm going to click once. Okay, and then I'm going to move my cursor up 103 inches. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, and I'm going to click when it's going in the correct direction. Then I'm going to go this way, 234.25 inches, and I'm going to click. And then I'm going to go down this way, 103 inches. Then I'm going to click. Okay. So what that does is it creates 4 separate lines. I can highlight each one of these lines. And what I can start to do is offset each one of these lines per this drawing. So this one right here is 63 inches. I'm going to go back. I'm going to offset 63. I'm going to select the curve I want to offset, and I'm going to offset it not this way, but this way. Let's go back to our drawing. This is 48 inches. So I'm going to offset 48. And I'm going to click this one and go this way. And then I don't know the distance here. So I'm going to go all the way to here. And I can see that the door starts 24 inches away from the right. So I'm going to say offset 24 inches. And I'm going to offset this way. I know the door is 35.5. So I'm going to offset 35.5. And I'm going to go this way. And then I need these horizontal lines. So I'm going to offset 48 inches for this windowsill. Offset 48. Click this bottom line and go up. And then the top of the window is at 24. Offset 24. Go this way. And then this door opening is 82.75 inches. So I'm going to offset 82.75 from here all the way to there. So if I wanted to, I could clean up this drawing a little bit. I'm going to use the trim command. So let's type in trim, hit enter, select the cutting objects. In this instance, I'm going to just make a big selection window to select every line that I've just drawn and press enter. And what I want to do is I want to trim away any of these that do not pertain to any actual openings. So I can clean it up in this way just so I can see my little window there. And then this one's my door. Just click any of the lines that you don't want in this drawing and then hit enter. And this is what the wall is eventually going to look like, but this is just a 2D representation of it. All right, so let's take all of these lines that we've just made by making a large selection window around them. I'm going to put it on layer 1 by saying change object layer. I'm going to right click layer 1, change object layer, and we'll call this layer. Just simply click this layer and call it curves. Okay, and we'll change the display color to a very nice vibrant red. Okay, so let's double click on front view. Let's look at our wall in perspective. All we did was take curves and we created some lines and curves and offset them. Any of these lines in Rhino, they end up becoming a type of geometry in Rhino called curves. So when I say curves, I mean all of these two-dimensional lines. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to leave them here for reference as I begin to 3D model the location of all my studs. So I'm going to click this little lock layer. I'm going to lock this whole entire layer. So now no matter what I do, I can't affect this entire layer. I'm going to move this check mark down by simply clicking in this column next to layer 2. So just click right here. And then we'll call this 3D studs, or we'll just call them studs. So I'm going to use a mixture of both the perspective and the front viewports to create all this 3D geometry. So starting with, we're going to use the box command. And I'm going to create a box. I'm going to right click this one, and I like to use 3-point boxes. I'm going to left click on this. And what we're going to essentially do is just create a 3D stud that is essentially 3 5/8 by 1 5/8 inch in dimensions. Just going to keep this a simplified stud. We don't need to worry about the actual C shape itself. I'm just here to design in Rhino. I don't need exact C-shape dimensions. So the start of edge is going to be this endpoint here. Make sure you have your O-snaps on. O-snap is on, and all these O-snaps should be on. My end of edge is going to be over here, and then I'm going to hover my cursor so that way it goes this way. So that way my 3D geometry goes that way. And in this direction, I'm going to type in 3 5/8 inch. Okay, I'm going to click once, and then I'm going to go downwards 1 5/8 inch and hit enter. Okay, what that does is it produces a box, very simple little box. What we want to make sure is that box is at the right height. So if I move it down, this is called the gumball, this area here. Just make sure gumball is enabled and you'll be able to do things like this. But I want to precisely move it to where it needs to be. So I'm going to move using the move command from this endpoint to right there. Okay, now I can go through that whole exercise to make it the bottom plate. Okay, or I can just come in here, type in copy, select this object, and the point to copy from is going to be down here. And I'm going to scroll all the way down, zoom into this bottom corner, and then click this endpoint, press enter when I'm done, escape, escape. Now I've got my top and my bottom plate. From here, just a matter of creating the verticals. So let's use that same 3-point box. And this time I'm going to go from here to here, down to here, and I'm going to go this way, 1 5/8 inch. If it goes the other way, don't worry about it. We can always move it into the correct orientation. So now I have that stud there. Okay. I've got this in shaded view here in perspective, but if I look at it here in front view, I'm still in what's called wireframe. So I'm going to right click front and go to shaded. And this should now be colored in. If I right click in this viewport and I right click in this viewport, now I'm in shaded in all 4 viewports. Let's go to our front viewport. And we're going to type in copy. And we're going to copy this piece. I'm going to press enter. I'm going to just click anywhere here, way up here. Don't snap to anything, just click here. Move your cursor to the right with ortho on and type in 24 inches, hit enter, and then click once. And that'll create a copy of that stud in the direction that we wanted it to go, 24 inches away. And press enter. Let's do the same with this one here. Copy, enter, select our objects, enter, point to copy from. Doesn't really matter as long as we copy from a point and go 24 inches to the right from that point. So I'm going to click here, move this way, 24 inches, making sure I go straight over, and then press enter. Okay. Now I also need a stud right here on this side of the wall, so I'm going to type in copy. This time I'm going to copy from this near point and then snap to this perpendicular or intersection. And now I have the stud around this opening. I'm going to type in copy again. And I'm going to copy this stud, press enter, and I'm going to copy it from this near point here. This says CEN, that's your center. Go ahead and turn off your center OSNAP and snap to this near point and then snap to this perpendicular point and press enter, escape, escape. So this stud is going to be the header, part of the header. So it's obviously too long because it's going through my window opening. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in a command called scale 1D, which will scale any object in one direction. So I'm going to select this object, press enter. My base point is going to be this end point. My first reference point is going to be down here, and my second reference point is going to be this perpendicular intersection right here. Okay. And now I'm going to copy again this item from this part to, oops, let's do that again. Copy this item, enter from here to there. I'm going to copy this one from here to here. Okay. Now I need my actual little header plate that goes right here. So I'm gonna actually let's undo this real quick. Undo, 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 undo. What I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna do another 3-point box from this point to this point upwards 1 5/8. Then I'm going to use my perspective viewport to check and make sure that I'm going in the correct direction. And I'm going to make sure I go this way. 3 5/8. I can snap to this edge here. Now that's my little header. Go back to my front viewport. Now I'm going to copy again. Copy this stud, hit enter, and go from here to here. And then I'm going to scale 1D of this one from here first reference point and come all the way to above this stud here. Now I can copy from here to here, and also from here to here. And I want to put just one here in the middle. So I'm going to copy again from this midpoint to this midpoint. Okay. So instead of doing all that work again, I'm just going to grab this piece here. I'm going to copy it from this top edge down to here. Escape, escape. And I'm going to grab by holding shift. I'm going to shift select all three of those. And I'm going to copy from this near edge straight down till I hit this perpendicular near edge. Hit escape a couple times. We'll use our handy dandy scale 1D. I'm going to scale these 3 sticks from here to this first reference point to this second reference point. Now we're going to copy this stick this way, 24 inches. Let's do that again from this stick, 24 inches. And then let's copy this stick from this near point to this opening. Let's copy this stick from here to here. And then let's copy this stick from here to here. And let's copy this stick from here to the left, 12 inches. Okay, now that's right in the middle. Now I just need another horizontal piece right here, so I can go ahead and grab from this piece. So let's copy this object from here to here. Escape, escape. We're going to scale 1D from here to here to here. And then that's our header. And then all I need to do now is create 3 more of these little pieces up here. So let's copy this stick from here to here. And then let's scale 1D this item from here to this first reference point to this point here. Let's copy it from here to there. And also let's copy it again from this midpoint to this midpoint. And that is what it should look like. Okay, if we look at it in perspective, this is what it looks like. We turn off our curves. All we can see now are these purple studs. Let's go back to let's bring up our PDF that we had made in Detailer. As we can see, it looks pretty darn similar to what we had created. Looks like I have an extra stud here, but oops. Essentially, this is the same layout. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you guys is how to take this whole entire wall, and we're going to scale it down to an architectural scale of 1/2 inch is equal to a foot. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to select all of this. I've turned off my curves layer and select all of these studs. There are 25. I'm going to type in group. That'll group them all. I'm going to copy. I'm going to select this item, hit enter. I'm going to copy it from here to about here. Hit escape. I'm going to keep one at a 1-to-1 scale. And then I'm going to take this one and scale it down to 1/2 inch is equal to a foot scale. So to do that, this is my method. And when you're using Rhino, there's always tons of different methods of creating the same exact thing. So there's no one right answer. But what I like to do is I like to draw big long lines. And I'm going to offset this line 12 inches. I'm going to click it, go to the right. And then I'm also going to offset it 0.5 inches. And select that same one and go to the right. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and type in scale, not scale 1D. This time I want to scale in all 3 directions. Type in scale, select my objects to scale, press enter. Okay, this is the very important part. For the base point, I'm going to select the end point of this first line that I drew. Go ahead and click that. For the scale factor or first reference point, I'm going to select this line, the one that's 12 inches away. And for the second reference point, I'm going to hover my cursor and find this endpoint here, and then click it. Now if I zoom out, you'll notice that the second wall has gotten extremely small. And this is what this wall looks like as at a ½ inch is equal to a foot architectural scale compared to its 1-to-1 scale partner. Okay. At this scale, this is completely ready for 3D fabrication. I can laser cut this, 3D print this, make it by hand. I'm not sure about CNCing it, but this little guy is our 3D print. So I'm going to select this object. I'm going to right click on layer 3, change object layer, and I'm going to change the name of this layer to ½ inch equal to 1 foot 0 inches. Change object layer. I can get rid of these 3 lines. I don't need them anymore. And I'm going to move this from here, and I'm going to move it to the origin. So I'm going to just say 0, enter. Okay. And then layer 4, I'm going to call this 1-to-1. I'm going to move it up. I'm going to take curves, and I'm going to hold shift, and I'm going to select studs, and then I'm going to click and drag it into 1-to-1. Now I can turn 1-to-1 off. Oops. Let's put this check mark down here, and then turn 1-to-1 off. Now I'm not looking at anything that's 1-to-1 scale, but I am looking at something that's ½ inch is equal to a foot scale. So if I typed in dim, I can check out the dimensions from here to here. It's going to be really big. So 9 3/4 of an inch. So this now, instead of being 234 inches, is 9 3/4 of an inch. And if I check going this way, this is now 4 inches instead of 107 or 8'7". So this thing is teeny tiny now. So with that, this would be ready for us to 3D print. I'm going to go ahead and start that process. First of all, let's save this file since we haven't done so yet. Actually, I'm going to make a new folder here called Rhino. I'm going to name this file. It's a 3DM file. And I'm going to make sure you got to make sure you have this software downloaded onto your computer. If you're using the school computers, it should already be available to you, but it's called Bambu Studio. It's completely free. Cancel. Let's create a new project. Make sure you have Bambu Lab P1S 0.4 here. If you don't, you might have to create a printer. Actually, yeah, you're gonna instead say select remove printers, and then you're gonna find Bambu Lab P1S 0.4 nozzle, and then go ahead and confirm. I already have it. So, and then the textured PEI plate. Go ahead and click you might only have one filament, so go ahead and click this plus button 3 more times to have different spools of filament available to use, since we have an AMS, which I'll talk about later. Now let's see what our units are. So let's go to Preferences. Units are imperial. Make sure that's set to imperial. And then say File. Actually, we're going to hit Control I, or click this button here. And oh, we forgot to export it. So here, I'm going to go back to Rhino. I'm going to say File, Export Selected. I'm going to select my group. I'm going to hit Enter. And let's go ahead and put it in this spot right here. Let's give it the same name, but we're going to export it as an STL, stereolithography. I'm going to hit Save. I'm going to click OK. We're going to click OK. And then back in Bambu, I'm going to locate that file. I'm going to open it up. It says the object from blah, 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 blah is too small and may be in meters or inches. Do you want to scale to millimeters? Let's say yes. Okay, so now it brought it in at a proper size. Okay, Bambu Studio is always going to import things in millimeters. So I think what I'd rather you all do is I'm going to delete this. I'm going to show you a quick little trick. We're going to go to our units, click here for document properties. I'm going to go to units, and in my model units, I'm going to change this to millimeters. I'm going to hit OK. And then this dialog box is going to say, well, you're changing the units from inches to millimeters. Do you want to change just the unit system alone? Or do you want to change the unit system and maintain the object sizes? Yes, that's the one we want to do. So click the second one, click OK. Type in dim to make sure that these sizes have not changed. Yeah, it's still 4 1/4 and 9 and something. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to hit undo, undo, and let's export again. Select this object. I'm going to give it a different name. Just put a 2 on it. Keep it as an STL. Okay and okay. And then when I import it here into Bambu, Bambu is not going to, well, it's just going to import it perfectly with no questions asked. Okay, so now we've got it here in Bambu. We're going to click on this little button, Auto Orient, and it will lay it nice and flat onto the bed because we don't want to print it straight up like the way it was. All right, and then we're going to use this preset right here so we don't have to modify any of these settings, but 0.2 standard, and then we're going to say slice plate. Okay, slicing worked. Total print time is going to be 34 minutes and 37 seconds. I'm going to come here. We're going to export plate sliced file, and then click export plate sliced file. And then this is when you're going to need to transfer this file onto a micro SD card. The Bambu P1Ss already have a micro SD card on them, so grab that micro SD card. You're going to need a micro SD card adapter. For my class, you can go ahead and borrow one if you don't have one, but I want to make sure you guys go ahead and invest in one. It's a very small investment. Let's put it here under Rhino, and let's go ahead and save it. I'm going to save it here on my hard drive and just transfer it over to a micro SD card later. Go ahead and hit save. Okay, so once you get that file onto a micro SD card, it's as easy as walking it over, putting the micro SD card in it, hitting print, having select the file that you want to print, and printing it. Now there are going to be some hiccups along the way. You might run out of filament. It might have some errors at some point. So you always want to watch it print at least the first full layer to make sure that there's at least adhesion. And once it's done with that, it's pretty safe to walk away. It's only going to take 34 minutes, so I would stick around and hang out. And once you guys are done with printing this, we'll go ahead and check to make sure everyone's got the same exact scale, exact size. So make sure you save this file as well. Save project as, and I'm going to put it in the same spot, give it the same name. This is a 3MF file. Hit save. I'm going to close all this out. Now that I'm back in Rhino, I'm going to carefully undo back before I had changed this to millimeters. So I'm going to keep my eyeballs on this that says millimeters and just hit undo until it no longer says millimeters. Now it says inches. Okay, so I basically reverted my file back to the standard inches units. So that way, when I open this file later on, I'm not confused as to why I'm in millimeters as my primary unit. So now that we're back to inches, go ahead and hit save. Go ahead and close this file, close this out, and 3D print it and bring it to the next class. All right, guys. Thank you very much. If you have any comments or issues, just go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. Thanks.